Hey everybody, what's up? And just let me correct something here for a second. Welcome to this live, that's right, live stream of this video, this Tiermaker video, I should say, which is entitled "The Christmas Specials You Should Not, the Christmas Specials You Should Watch During the Holidays Tier List." Basically, this is a list of Christmas specials that I believe, in my opinion, you should be watching. In fact, it even says in the description right there. These are the specials you should watch during the holiday/Christmas season. And as you can see, we're going by these kind of categories. Top, the top right there is must watch. In other words, those are the ones you have to watch. These are the be all, end all, in my opinion, that you have to watch during the Christmas season on repeated viewings. Not necessarily back to back, but basically you have to watch them at least, I would say, almost every day, or at least a couple of times a week. Not wait for any repeats or anything. If you have it available to you, watch it right then and there, in my opinion. Good to watch on repeat when the repeat airs is the second one. Basically, that is when that basically contains specials that are good to watch. The first time, and then when they're repeated the second time later on, a few weeks later, like CBS and ABC and NBC are known for doing that kind of thing, and that's kind of what they fall in. That's kind of the category you fall into there. The other one is watchable. In other words, they are, you can watch the special, not repeatedly or anything, but you can watch it, anytime it comes on. But and just probably have it on in the background or something like that. Let's say the day after Thanksgiving, a lot of people like me and my mom, or the day or not the day, but the weekend of Thanksgiving, a lot of people like me and my mom are going to be putting up our tree, hopefully putting up our decorations, and watchable is it falls into the category of when you're doing something like that. You can basically have a special or whatever in the background playing, so you can hear it, maybe turn your head on occasions to see it, and you should be all right. The next one is good for one watch per Christmas. That's basically a special, if you will, that you could watch only once, during the Christmas season, and not have to worry about watching it ever again. Because it's you get the basically the gist of it and everything. It falls into that category of it's a good for one watch per Christmas, to where it's decent, but it's not like, okay, I gotta watch it all the time. It's good for like one viewing once a year. And then the last one is okay to DVR and watch later on your time. In other words, it's a special that maybe you're invested in, you want to see, but it's not something you have to watch here and there, or even keep on in the background or anything. It's something you could DVR while you're watching something else, or you're out doing stuff like Christmas shopping and things. So that's basically what the categories are. So yeah, this is like when you're out and about. This is for like one watch per year, and you'll be okay. Watchable is basically you could watch it, you can watch it maybe once, and then if you want to have something on in the background where you're like Christmas decorating, that's kind of falls into that category. Good to watch or repeat when the repeat airs. Basically, that's like one of the that's kind of like with the Rankin Bass specials and all that, which some are in here. But it's kind of like with the Rankin Bass specials, to where you're gonna watch it on its initial airing when the network airs it. And you also know that you might watch it again when the network re-airs it later on, to kind of tie in to the closeness to the Christmas Day and all that. So that's that. And then, like I said, the must watch is you have to watch these. These are the ones that you shouldn't wait for a repeat. These are the kind that you should be watching. You should be, not putting on in the background. You should be watching as much as you can, because they're that good. So, here's the list right here. As you can tell, this is the list of specials I have. So, how do we start out here? How do we start out? Well, it's real simple. We have here Um, we have here some good some good options, in my opinion. So even though it's a movie, people still look at it as a special, a 2-hour special, if you will. And it might even end up on another list I might do later on. But I think honestly, we're gonna start with Yogi's First Christmas, and this is one that I believe, and it's my opinion here, you can watch on repeat and when the repeat airs. I mean, I'm a fan of the special, of the Christmas movie special. I'm a fan of it. It's one of my favorites, even though my dad kind of got a little annoyed with it at times. But to me, I feel like, it's one of those that when it initially airs on television, like you can watch it anytime now on the Boomerang streaming service and all that, and maybe Cartoon Network might put it on to tie in with Jellystone. But to me, it's one of those specials that when it does air, it's good to watch when it initially airs, and it's good to watch when it gets repeated later on. So it falls under that category, and that being Yogi's First Christmas. Have a Morlock Little Christmas. This is a special Christmas episode they did in the final seasons of the 90s X-Men cartoon. And this is one that I would say is watchable. I would say it's the kind you can put on in the background while you're, well, basically it's the kind you can watch once, and then maybe if you need something to put on in the background when you're decorating, the Christmas trees and all that, this is the kind that you should put it on as I check something here for a second. And hello, soundboard, nice to see you. And sorry for the echo, I do apologize for that. Let me see something here, guys. They say there's an echo. Oh, it's what is it? It's the it's the audio input device, which is the mic, and then the mic auxiliary. Yeah, hold on, guys. Well, I adjust something here. I don't know. Is that better? Let me know if that's better. Sorry about that. Let me know if the mic auxiliary, being turned down helped out. In fact, let me check something, guys. Hold on for a sec while I do something. I should have my TV on when I'm doing this, so that way I can figure out what I'm listening to. I do apologize. Let's see. Hold on, guys. Hold on, guys. I do apologize for this. And I forgot to change the thumbnail too, so I'll have to change that later. Hold on, guys. Hold on. Okay. So they say it's better. Yeah, it was on the mic auxiliary power is what it was. So I do apologize for that. And let me turn my TV off here for a second because I don't want to waste power. Alright, there we go. Yeah, I had the mic auxiliary on for some reason. I don't know what happened there. But anyway, let's get back to the tier list here. Like I said, this was an episode I think in the 5th season they did for X-Men, the 90s X-Men cartoon. And it's called Have a Morlock Little Christmas. And like I said, it's the kind you can watch, the first time around. And if you need something to watch in the background, or not watch, but have playing in the background, besides maybe, let's say, Christmas music, then, something like Have a Morlock Little Christmas is the kind of Christmas episode special you could do. Alright, so next up, we have It's a wonderful Tiny Toon Christmas, which kind of also served somewhat as the season as a series finale. Although although people would say Spring Break and Night Goolery did, but those were kind of like one-off specials and all that. So and they're not included, with the complete series set of Tiny Toons with any of the volumes that completed the series on DVD. However, this one here is, and thus this served as the finale, and it's basically good for one watch per Christmas because you don't have to watch it constantly, but watching it, just on it, just once, you kind of get the gist of it. You kind of get the idea of, okay, I know what they're doing, because what they're doing is their own take, kind of a parody take, if you will, on It's a Wonderful Life, and it's actually pretty good. It's actually pretty good. And it does have that moment that if you watch the melted cartoon females minus the ink scene, or with the ink scene here on my channel, it does have the scene in there where Buster kisses Babs and Babs melts into a puddle. Basically, she melts right through her clothes, and her clothes fall on top of her puddle form, where her eyes, fall from the air and onto her puddle form, and all that, and blink maybe twice, and that's it. So that's what the scene. That's where that scene comes from. If you watch that video, but yeah, this is the kind that you can watch once per Christmas, get a good gist of it, and it should be all right. The next one here is Muppet Family Christmas, and I think this would be in the same category. It's one of those that you can watch once per Christmas and not have to worry about it. So, to me, um, you know, it's a well. Let me put it this way: it's a good special. It's a good special, and thank you, Sounds Board, for telling me about that issue. Really appreciate it. Oh, and by the way, super chats are open, guys, if you want to help donate. Also, patreon.com/bwroses with the $1 and $3 tiers are open if you want to go there, and my Venmo as well, and I will add that hopefully to the description if I haven't already. But like I said, Muppet Family Christmas is the kind that you could, watch once per Christmas and not have to worry about it later on. I mean, to me, like I was saying, it's a good special. It's decent. I like the fact that you get all the Muppet characters from all across the board at that time, from the initial Muppets of Kermit, Mickey, Gonzo, and Fozzie, and Rolf, and all them. Um, Coming alongside, basically celebrating Christmas alongside the Sesame Street Gang, Big Bird, Elmo, Bert, Cookie Monster, Count, Grover, and then of course you throw in the Fraggles, which was a nice little touch there. And to me, it is something that you could watch once per Christmas, and not have to worry about watching it later because you already know what's going to happen throughout the special. Now, if you have it on DVD somehow or home video, then you can watch it as much as you want. But when it comes to the Christmas season, it's nice to watch once per year, and that's about it. That's about it. So it's in that category. A Hollywood Hounds Christmas. Okay, a little bit of backstory on this. Hollywood Hound Christmas came out in the basically the early to mid '90s, and this, to me, apparently according to Wikipedia, it was a collaboration between Dick Animation and Exchange Culture Exchange something to do a special. But the way it's set up, in my opinion, especially with the intro and everything, what I noticed here is they were trying to create their own version of Pound Puppies, but they were doing it by the under the Hollywood Hounds name. And what they were doing as well is they were using the Christmas special to basically say, um, hey, here's, here's this special and everything that is going to be the pilot, the kicking off point, if you will, for for basically, it's going to be the kicking off point for basically the for a new series. In a way, it's going to be the kicking off point for a new series, and that's what it served. That's basically what it served. So I thought it was good. I thought honestly, you know, I thought it was all right. I mean, I have it. I actually have it on the official Christmas DVD that Dick put out years ago. So I have it on there, and it's actually pretty good. But to me, I would say it falls under the watchable category. Like you could watch it once, and and probably enjoy it, be satisfied with it. But then when you're like doing decorations or something, and you need something to put on in the background, something like Hollywood Hound Christmas is that kind of a show. All right, here's the next one, and this is Frosty the Snowman. And of course, I don't think I'm alone when I say this. This is definitely a must watch. I mean, every year it comes out, people love it and everything. They love watching it. And the only problem is unless you physically own a Blu-ray or DVD copy, excuse me, or if you DVR'd it, you can't. You have to wait till it gets replayed, or replayed on CBS, I should say, or even on Freeform, because now Freeform airs it as well. But to me, it's the kind that you can watch constantly throughout the month of December and the late portion of this month to really get in the Christmas mood. So Frosty the Snowman falls into that category of must watch. Like, if you DVR it, even after initially watching it, you could repeat it. You could repeat the rewatch over and over and over again, and almost every day if you felt like it, and not get tired of it because it is that good. All right, next up. Next up, and I'm trying to make sure I didn't miss nothing here. I may have. I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure. I may have to go back, guys, and check something. Maybe. I mean, maybe not. I'll have to look. Um, all right. So next up, we have Family Circus Christmas. Now, this is something that you know had DVRs been out back and when this came out, because this came out the year I was born, 1979. So I would say that this is the kind of special that if they decide to re-air it, you could okay to DVR and watch later on your own time. That way, if it because let's be honest, Family Circus is a very well-known comic strip. One of the main things that makes it very popular is it's got Christian morals at times to it. So, and I think it was done by a Christian. And so basically, to me, this is something that if you watch it and if you're curious about it, it's the kind that even back then you could record on VHS if you knew how to do a timer and all that, and then watch it later on when you felt like it. Or it's the kind that if DVR existed back then, you could DVR and watch you know at your own at your own time to see whether or not it is worth watching and all that. So yeah, it kind of falls into that category. Another one that falls into a category of watchable, if you will, I would say is Christmas Memories. This is a Cadillac Cats short from the Christmas one of the Christmas episodes of Heathcliff and the Cadillac Cats. And this is just and the reason it's a watchable one is because you could watch it the first time around, and then like I said about the other two before it, you could have it on in the background when you're doing something and kind of tilt your head to watch a little bit of it and then go back to what you're doing because it has that kind of watchable value to it. But also, it's the fact that it's one of the many, if not few, retellings of how the Cadillac Cats, came to be. How Cleo met Riff Raff and stuff like that. So, it falls under that category of like one watch, you know, one viewing is good, and if you need something to put in the background while you're doing stuff, it falls under that category as well. Okay, so here we go. This one falls under the good for one watch per Christmas. We have a Chipmunk Christmas. This is the first animated special since the '60s. Animated presentation of Alvin and the Chipmunks since the '60s. It's very good. There's no doubt, but it's the kind that, like Tiny Toon's Wonderful Christmas and Muppet Family Christmas, you can watch once per Christmas and not have to worry about it after that. And this kind of initially started, you know, the trend that we got with the '80s versions of the Chipmunks uh, later on, a few years later. So but it is like I said, it's one of those that falls under the category of once per Christmas, and you one watch per Christmas, and you should be okay if you catch my drift. And just checking something there. All right, Christmas raccoons. All right, this one here, I would say, I would say Christmas raccoons would fall under the okay to DVR and watch later at your own time. Again, just like Family Circus had DVR technology existed back then, with the except instead of VCR technology, it's the kind that you could DVR and watch later because of the curiosity. And in case you guys don't know, Christmas raccoons kind of started the trend of the raccoons phenomenon that came later on. And apparently, according to I think some people like Trash Bits, what's his name, Trash Can Tibbits or something. Apparently, they got a revival going on with raccoons, with a new style and everything, and they obviously are doing a remake of the Christmas special. I don't know, but apparently that's what the word going around. But this year, like I said, this is what started the whole trend because you went from Christmas raccoons to Raccoons in the Lost Star, to Raccoons on Ice, and then the straight to VHS special, and then an occasional Disney special, Raccoons Let's Dance, and then of course the series itself. So this is the one that started it, but it is the kind that, like I said, falls under that okay to DVR record category. Okay, what I'm trying to say is it's the kind like with Family Circus falls under the okay to DVR record and watch later on your own time category. All right, so the next one is The Year Without a Santa Claus. Now, this one is good to watch on repeat, eat when the repeat airs. It's a class. Let me put it this way: it is a classic when it comes to ranking best, Christmas specials. Don't get me wrong; it has been, sequelized. It has been remade, several times over. But to me, it's the kind that you could watch once when it initially airs, and then when it airs later on again, you can watch on repeat when that showing occurs. And of course, it is known for the Snow Misers, well, not Snow Miser, but the Miser Brothers song of Mr. White Christmas, Mr. Cold, or Mr. You know, what is it, Mr. Red Christmas, Mr. Sun, something like that. So yeah, it is known for that, and like I said, it's gotten a sequel, it's gotten a repeat, it's got a remake in movie format. But to me, it's one that you could watch on the initial airing, and then when it comes back on later on, maybe a couple weeks later or a week or two later. Well, that is a couple of weeks, but like I said, a week or so later, you can watch it then as well. So it falls into that category of good to watch on repeat when the repeat airs. Jolly Molly Christmas. All right, this one, I know I'm going to sound a little biased, but this one to me is a must watch. Because this one right here, Jolly Molly Christmas, it was a special Christmas episode of Tailspin, which was part of the Disney Afternoon in 1990. And to me, this was just good. This was just from top to bottom, very good, very well written. It kept in tone with what Tailspin was, but it definitely showed a lot more favoritism to being something, you know, out of the ordinary when it came to regular Tailspin episodes. Like it was part of it. Like basically, it's part of the Tailspin rotation, but it's the kind that you could watch that. Well, basically, it's the kind of episode that initially only got aired during Christmas, but over the years, when it was on Toon Disney, they started to basically, they started to kind of integrate, into regular rotation for some odd reason. But like I said, the way it's done, the way it's animated, the way it's written, top to bottom, perfection, just pure perfection. And to me, it kicked off initially and I'm sorry if you saw any uh, lag there for a second, but to me, it started off a trend of Disney Afternoon episodes that would, or Disney afternoon shows that would do special Christmas episodes to tie in with the series. And they would put more effort into it, not just, script wise, but animation wise. And it's all thanks to what Tailspin did here. And again, it is so well done, and the story is so good. The story is basically about Molly wanting to give her mom the one Christmas gift she's always wanted since she was a little girl, and that's to see it snow again. And I think that's a great kind of story to go with, and the links that Baloo and Kit and even Louie go to help Molly to basically help Molly make that happen. And then once Becky finds out what's going on, Rebecca, that being Molly's mom, she gets in on it as well because she really likes the idea. She's really appreciative of the idea when she finds out of what Baloo is trying to do for her daughter, because her daughter wants to give her mom this. And, it's again just top to bottom, pure perfection, in my opinion. It's a must watch. All right, next up, Sonic Christmas Blast. And it's a must watch. I know I'm sounding biased there. I am a Sonic fan, that is true, but it is a must watch because of its unusualness. Its unusualness because of the fact that this is a blending, even though it's animated in the style of Adventures, this is a blending of both Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog and Sonic Satayam. Why do I say that? Because you have Robotropolis, in this special. Well, it's being called Robotropolis. Yeah, Robotropolis is what it's called. Instead of Robotropolis, they're calling it Robotropolis. So you got that in here. You got Swapbots being acknowledged, even though the very adventure stylish, if you will. And then on top of that, you have Sally. Yes, Sally is in this special. And it's not just the Sally. It's not just the Sally we saw at the end of Doomsday or anything like that in the final episode of Sonic SatAM. No, it's the same design, but it's her season one. Basically it's her season one design. It's a season one design. Let me see if I can find this. Hold on. Let me see if I can find a picture. I'll show you. Okay. Here we go. Let me show you. Let me show you what I'm talking about. If I can find an image. Here, right here. Look at this. Look at this, right here. We're gonna pull this up. Look at that. That is what she looks like. That is her season one design, not the heads or tails design, which was the original early design. But this is her design. But it's colored. Her fur and hair is colored similar to her initial coloring when she first debuted in the comics and in the Heads or Tails pilot. That was her initial design. So yeah, they had her in there. And there were some people that did commentary on it here on YouTube. One of the girls was like, "What? Excuse me? Huh? No." Because they couldn't believe it. They could not initially believe it, guys, and that's the truth. They could not believe it, because of the fact that there she was. Even though she didn't have a speaking role, Katsushi didn't come back to do anything. All she had was a, when Sonic tossed some, presents on her and everything. So yeah, to me it's a must watch because of that unusualness. Like, okay, it's one thing for maybe Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog to do a Christmas special, but it's another to where it's done in the animation style of Adventures, but yet you have I should say, you have Robotropolis, known as Robotropolis, you have Swapbots in Adventures style, and you have the Season 1 SatAM design of Sally Acorn, but colored in her initial pink fur design with reddish brown hair. It's like you have to just see it to believe it, especially if you're a Sonic fan. So that to me is why it's a must watch. It stays in what it is it stays in what it is the story itself stays in tone with not just what you get with Adventure story wise, but the story is a hybrid of what you get adventure wise and Sat AM wise. So it's very well done in that way, and it's something that I think you should watch. You should watch as much as you can to really get the gist of what you're seeing here, in my opinion. All right, so next up we have a Scooby-Doo Christmas, and this to me is, I would say it's a, I would say it falls under the category of watchable. Like you can watch it one time, and then if you need something to put on in the background while while you're doing stuff like Christmas decorating, making what? Hold on for a sec, while I get something to drink here. Like I said, you can. It's something you can watch initially the first time over, and then if you need something to watch in the background, you could put that on while you're either Christmas decorating or you're making Christmas food like cookies, or you're working on a gingerbread house, or you're making ambrosia, which my mom does during the holiday season twice. It's that kind of a special, and to me, it's really good. I really liked it. I really liked it. I recorded it several times, and it is on the complete series set of What's New Scooby Doo. So check it out if you haven't seen it. The next one here is an original one from Scooby Doo. It's called Scooby Doo Haunted Holidays. And to me, it falls under the okay to DVR and watch later on your own time because, it is an all new special, but it's also something that, you don't have to watch initially to get the gist of it or to enjoy it. It's something that you can watch, when you get home. You could DVR it and then you can watch it when you get home. So that falls into that category. Santa Claus is Coming to Town, to me, falls under the good to watch on repeat when the repeat airs. Um, Even though it is really good, and I will give Freeform a little credit, that unless ABC proves me wrong this year, they're the only ones with the broadcast that show it almost unedited. Almost, I should say. So, excuse me there. So to me, I have to give the edge to Freeform there. But it is something that you could watch, when it initially airs, like when it airs on ABC in a couple of weeks, you could watch it then. And then when it gets repeated, which it will, you could watch it, on ABC or even Freeform. You can watch it then as well, and not have to worry about constantly having to rewatch or or anything like that. You could watch it, like I said, on its initial run, and then when the repeat happens, like let's say if you're just watching the ABC presentation of it and you want to watch that only, then you can watch the repeat of that of Santa Claus Coming to Town later on, and you'd be okay with it. You won't have to be like fatigued or anything like that. So it does fall under that good to watch on repeat when the repeat airs category, if that made any sense. Next up is Rudolph's Shiny New Year. And this one definitely falls under the good for one watch per Christmas season, or per New Year's. It's really good. It serves basically initially I should say, serves as a sequel to the original special. Um, Almost like it takes place immediately after, like days after. But yeah, it's one of those specials that you can watch once and not have to worry about watching it again when it repeats because you're like, I already know what's going to happen, so I don't have to worry. So yeah, it's one of those specials that falls under that category. All right, so here we go. The big one, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, the Rankin Bass special, the one that's basically, basically made New Year's a sequel. That, of course, is going to go into the must-watch category. I mean, you cannot beat watching something like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer year after year, if you will. I mean, if you buy the Blu-ray with it, or even a 4K if they brought that out, you can't tell me that you would not play that any chance you got if you wanted to be in a Christmas mood. It's one of those. It's basically one of those specials like with Frosty. You have to watch as much as you can because it's that good. It's a must watch, and that's all I can really say about it. All right, next one here we have is Nutcracker Scoob. This is a watchable. This is basically one of the final episodes they did for the new Scooby-Doo Mysteries, which was the second season of the all-new Scooby-Doo Scrappy-Doo show, where it was basically focused on Daphne, Shaggy, Scooby, and Scrappy. But in the second season, which was known as the new Scooby-Doo Mysteries, they started doing some guest appearances and returns of Velma and Fred. Nutcracker Scoob has Fred in this. So, and it basically takes place around Christmas. And what it does is it sets up, well, basically what the storyline is it's kind of very Christmas Carol like, in a way. Not initially, but very similar. Well, basically the character is very Christmas Carol inspired. The Scrooge like character, if you will. The Scrooge like character who does have a change of heart after one of the young kids in the special saves his cat, from a height or from an area. So, so to me, basically, it's one of those that you could watch initially and enjoy it, and you can then put on later on, and as back in the background, and while you're like, let's say you're doing, it's the kind. I'll put it this way, it's the kind you could watch initially, and if you're doing gingerbread houses, it's the kind you can put in the background while you're doing those and not be distracted because you already know what's going to happen, but it's nice to hear it because it goes along with maybe what you're doing. All right, so here's one: the He-Man and She-Ra a Christmas special. And this is one, obviously, that, believe it or not, this is the kind that obviously you have to okay to DVR and watch later on your time. Because even though just just the title alone of He-Man and She-Ra, and we're talking the Filmation versions, but just the title alone of those characters being involved in the Christmas special, that'll get your curiosity up. Just enough to where if you can't watch it when it comes on, you can watch it later on and try to digest what you're seeing. So it's one of those that falls under the okay to DVR, record, and watch later on your time category. All right, so here we have the Rankin Bass, the Little Drummer Boy, and to me, this is good to watch on Christmas. It is that good. It has that Venice Boys Choir that my mom likes. It's one of the earlier ones. You could just tell by Rankin Bass that they put out. You could tell that by like sometimes the film transfers and everything. So yeah, I'd highly recommend. So yeah, I would highly recommend watching it for just once during Christmas and not have to worry about watching it later on because it's one of those specials that once it comes on, depending on who has the rights to it, you can watch it once and not have to worry. All right, so here we have one that was interesting: a Kim Possible Christmas. Kim Possible, I think this is one that I would say is okay to DVR and watch later, just for its unusualness. It does take place during Christmas, and basically the premise the premise of this is that it does involve Shigo and Draken, but it's one that basically at the end becomes a musical, and they kind of break the fourth wall. We'll put it that way. And oh, by the way, Kim kisses Ron under the mistletoe too in this, if you're interested. So yeah, there you go. All right. Next up, we have How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the original 1960s one, which I would say falls under the good to watch on repeat when the repeat airs. Like when it initially comes on NBC later this year, I think it's NBC not later this year, but in a couple of weeks. It's the kind that once they repeat it, and I think they're going to, you can watch the repeat and not be like I said earlier, not be fatigued about constant repeats of it over and over again. It's like you watch it initially when it comes on, and then when you wait for the repeat to come later on, like a couple of weeks later, you'll be cool with it then, and it won't be a problem. A Hollywood Christmas, I will put it under watchable because a Hollywood Christmas, it's basically hour and a half, 2 hour if it's on television, but an hour and a half. I guess you could say documentary on Christmas on the history of Christmas movies and specials, hosted by Jane Seymour. It's actually very good, very informative, but it is the kind that you could watch initially, with the first go around, and then definitely put on in the background if, let's say, you're making Christmas, desserts, doing gingerbread houses, decorating. It's the kind that you could put there. It's not a to me. It's one of those. Like I said, it's one of those that you could watch initially the first time around, and then put it on repeat. Oh, not put it on repeat, but put it on in the background when you're doing other things, Christmas related. Excuse me there. Excuse me. All right. Excuse me there. I do apologize. Okay, so the next one here, Goof Troop Christmas, or otherwise known as Have Yourself a Goofy Little Christmas. I have to put in the must watch because, again, this, because like I said earlier about Jolly Molly, if it wasn't for this, we probably wouldn't have had this. And it's actually really, really good. Because, and again, the animation quality is nice and everything. And to me, Goof Troop Christmas kind of like set the bar of what we would get in Goofy Movie, in Extremely Goofy Movie, and even Max's, that little Goofy and Max short we got in Twice Upon a Christmas, to where Max, he's getting older and he doesn't want to keep doing the same things, but then he notices what his dad got him for Christmas, and he realizes that okay, maybe my dad's not the perfect dad, but he still carries the moments he still cherishes the moments they have together. So it kind of has that storyline in it, but it doesn't take place in Spoonville. It actually takes place in Aspen, Colorado, because what happens is that Goofy causes such a unintentional mess, if you will, of things, that Pete basically decides that he and his family are going to spend Christmas out of town, and away from Goofy, but he doesn't and he doesn't realize that Max is going to suggest to his father, hey, why don't we go on vacation, kind of have a change of space, suggest the same area they're going to, and basically the rest is history, and you just go from there. But it is a must watch to me because, again, it sets up, and not only does it got a good story, and it does have a bit of a musical ending to it, and you even have him singing Silent Night, Holy Night, and honestly, I'll say this, if it's April Rinchel that was doing Peg's voice, which it was, her singing, especially with Silent Night, you can hear it doing the Silent Night song. She has a nice little singing voice there. She really does. And to me, Goof Troop Christmas basically took the concept of what Jolly Molly did, and the other ones that came after it, and upped it to another level because it got for most of its run, it got individualized as its own thing. Like it was still part of the Goof Troop continuity, still part of the Goof Troop universe, but it was its own thing. In other words, it was like you could put it on ABC or CBS, as a regular Christmas special, and people would watch. And to me, it's one of them that is a must watch, in my opinion, that you have to watch as much as you can, because just because of just of the fact that, like I said, it kind of gave us the foundation, the pillar to build on for what we would get in Goofy Movie and Extremely Goofy Movie later on. All right, next one we have is the Flintstones Christmas. This is not the Christmas episode they did during the initial run, but this is actually one they did in the 70s, and you have Pebbles and Bam Bam a little older now. They're about like 5, 6 years old, 7 years old, if you will. And this is one that you can actually watch initially, and you can watch in the back, and then you can put on it in the background while you're doing other Christmas related things. Like I said earlier, like decorating, gingerbread, making cookies or whatever. You could watch something like this initially the first time, and then put it on in the background while to listen to while you're doing those kind of things. At the same time, so you can listen to it, maybe turn your head and look at it a bit, but it's the kind that you can put it in the background and enjoy it that way too after you've watched it initially. All right. So next one we have is a Charlie Brown Christmas, and of course, this is a must watch. I am not going to argue on that because everything is perfect about it. When you find out exactly the risks they took with some of the stuff they put in, with some of the scenes that are in this, and everything, it makes you want to watch it more and more just out of that appreciation for the risks they took by having Linus do it, Linus have his moment in there and stuff like that. So just really good. And it's the kind that it's the kind that you will watch even when it's not Christmas season. It's the kind you will watch when it's not Christmas season because it's that good. It is that good. And I can't say any more than it than I think anybody else has. All right. So next up we have Bonkers Miracle on the 34th Precinct. This to me is basically something that I believe falls under the good to watch once per Christmas. That's what it is. Because it's the only Christmas special Bonkers has. Even though I believe, and I stick by this, even though I believe honestly, that they were going to have another special. They had another Christmas special planned with the Miranda episodes, the ones that had to be shelved, if you will, because of animation errors and all that, or disaster in animation. Even though I believe they had one set up there, this one I thought was a pretty good, I guess you could say, constellation prize. But it is the kind that you can watch once per Christmas. The story basically is Santa is testing out his new sleigh, right? And he crashes over Hollywood during a freak winter blizzard storm. Yeah, it's a freak winter storm in Hollywood to where they have snow and everything. So basically, Santa ends up crashing in Hollywood, gets a bit of amnesia. He gets found by Bonker's friend, fall apart, you know, and Bonkers and Lucky are now tasked by not just the chief, but by elves. One of them voiced by what's her name? Kathy Lee. Not Kathy Lee, but Katie Lee. Katie Lee, the girl that did Sunny Gummy's voice, and you could hear it, in the character she does. They're tasked with finding Santa in time for Christmas. But not only are they tasked with finding Santa, but they are tasked themselves with trying to find a replacement just in case Santa can't be found in time, and they choose Lucky, who through enough training gets into the Christmas spirit and everything, and is willing to help them out. And they even kind of show him exactly what will happen if he doesn't do it, because his daughter believes in Santa, but one of the girls at his daughter's school, his daughter's name is Marilyn. One of the girls at his daughter's school doesn't believe Santa exists and even tries to tell Marilyn that, but Marilyn still has a belief. So these elves use Christmas magic to basically show him what will happen, and that's enough to wake him up and realize he's got to do this. Well, Bonkers goes and does the search for Santa, which initially they do find Santa. Santa gets his memory back, and everything is all hunky dory and all that at the end. But yeah, it's the kind that it is the kind of, unlike Goof Troop and Tailspin's Christmas ones, you can watch once per Christmas and you'll be all right with it. All right, next up we have Best Gift Ever, and this is a must watch. It is. It is definitely a must watch because not only do you only have like two songs throughout the entire special, but the special storyline is that of Secret Santa. Basically, Applejack suggests to Twilight, who's getting overwhelmed, why don't she's. What I'm trying to say is what happens is Applejack suggests to Twilight, since Twilight and all of them are kind of getting overwhelmed with trying to find Christmas stuff and everything, Christmas gift for each other, she suggests going the Secret Santa route, right? She suggests going the Secret Santa route or the Hearts Warming Helper route. And basically by doing so, only one pony gets one pony or dragon a gift, and that's it. And that's basically the premise. And what's cute about it is is finding out, and what's cute and funny about it, and adorable and sweet about it. It makes it a very watchable, over must watch. Well, not watchable, but must watch Christmas special over and over again. Is who you see they end up with. Like Twilight ends up with Pinky, Pinky ends up with Twilight, which I think a lot of people predicted she would. Um, you see, basically, you find out that ends up with Spike. Spike initially ends up with Rainbow Dash, but then trades very sneakily with Fluttershy to get Rarity, and thus Fluttershy, who initially had Rarity, gets Rainbow Dash. It's just and and then Rarity we find out gets Applejack. So it's just like I said, it's a sweet, cute, very funny, must-watch Christmas special. And I can't say any more than that. It's just something that you have to initially watch over and over. It doesn't matter what time of year. It is that good. It is that good, in my opinion. It is that good. All right, next up we have Berenstain Bears Christmas Tree. This I'm going to put under the good to watch on repeat when the repeat airs. Like, you could watch it initially when it comes out on television, which I'm pretty sure a lot of people did when it initially debuted in the 1980, I think. What was it? 79, 80, I believe. And it's also the kind that once it gets repeated by that same network later on, like a few weeks later, you could watch it again and not have, like I said earlier about some of them, fatigue about watching constant repeats of it over and over and over. So it's the kind that you could watch on its initial airing and then watch on the repeat and not have a problem. And the last one, which I wanted to put into the Christmas Carol category, but I just made an honorable mention. But it is the kind that you can watch once per Christmas and not have a problem with it, and that is 101 Dalmatians Christmas Special, A Christmas Cruella. It is basically their take on the Christmas Carol. Like I said initially in the what I said in my Christmas Carol tier list, which will premiere on Thanksgiving, um, I mentioned in there, and you'll hear it as well when it comes out. I initially said in there that basically the ghosts of Christmas past, present, and future were represented by Cadpig, Spot, and Rolly. Cadpig was the ghost of Christmas past, Rolly present, Spot future, and they did a funny job. They did yeah, they basically did a funny, nice kind of job. I mean, you had Lucky playing the role of playing the Tiny Tim role because he injured his leg, so he has to like walk on a crutch or something like that, or he has to watch. He has to basically wear a cast and everything, and they do a great job here with the way they tell the story, because you have Cruella. She sees Lucky still kind of hobbling and everything, and thinking, "Oh, wait a minute, I thought it was just a broken leg. What happened?" And Rolly, as the Ghost of Christmas Past, has to say it turned into something more, and they need the money to have and they don't, and the Dearlys need to have the money to do a successful operation, or basically they'll lose Lucky, or Lucky will lose his leg. So yeah, they do a decent job, on this. And what's great about it, and we kind of see this, like I said, in other Christmas Carol adaptations later that I've talked about in that one that you're going to see on Thanksgiving. Basically, Cruella, even though they're trying to get the message across to her, she's still being herself. Like, when Rolly's showing her the present of what's going on, you know, they overhear Roger saying, "Well, I wouldn't wish Cruella a happy, holiday or Merry Christmas. She'd probably charge us for the air we breathe." And that gives Cruella an idea of, buy up the atmosphere and charge people. And then that of course pisses off Rolly. It's like, aren't you paying attention, kind of deal. You know, it's just it's just it's just done in a way to where the person they're trying to redeem in the Scrooge role is still acting like themselves, still acting very Scrooge-like, to where, like I said, Rolly, he sees how Cruella reacted to that little, sarcastic idea of Rogers, and he says, "Don't you understand? Don't you get what's going on here? Aren't you paying attention?" kind of deal. and he has to toss the phone away and everything. And Cruella basically it takes, like I said, believe it or not, it takes Spot being the ghost of Christmas future to kind of wake her up a little bit, to realize the error of her ways. Now, it's done in a way where you kind of get an idea why she's acting like this. You kind of get the idea of why she's acting like this. Basically, she wanted a Dalmatian puppy when she was a kid, and that her parents never really spent time with her, if at all, during Christmas. So she basically got turned into what she is now because of that. So we kind of get an idea, which I thought was a good move. I thought it was well, yeah, I thought it was a good move, and it just works in the context of the story. I mean, she does redeem herself, but not like the way we see Scrooge in the original Christmas Carol. The way she redeems herself is she redeems herself to where she gives Anita back her job, but she's giving it back at the sacrifice of firing somebody else. So she's still staying, true to who she is, but now she's kind of, you know, going to be better at Christmas. Like she's going to be more willing to, give people time off for Christmas and all that and everything, but still kind of be Cruella, and that's it. But yeah, it's one of those that, like the other ones before it, is a good watch once during the Christmas season. All right, and that will pretty much do it for this live stream tier list, if you will. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. For any of you guys that are watching later on, so let's go down once again. The categories: the OK to DVR and watch later on your own time or record at your own time. Family Circus Christmas, Christmas Raccoons, Scooby-Doo Haunted Holidays, He-Man She-Ra Christmas Special, and Kim Possible Christmas. And the good for one watch per Christmas is Tiny Toons, Muppet Family Christmas, A Chipmunk Christmas, Rudolph's Shiny New Year, Little Drummer Boy, Bonkers Christmas Special Episode, Miracle on 34th Precinct, and 101 Dalmatians Christmas, A Christmas Cruella. And the ones that are watchable that you can watch once and then put on in the background while you're doing Christmas related stuff like cooking, gingerbread houses, decorating, X-Men, the X-Men episode, Have Yourself a Morlock Little Christmas, Hollywood Hounds Christmas, The Cadillac Cats 11 Minutes Short, Christmas Memories, a Scooby-Doo Christmas from What's New Scooby-Doo, the Nutcracker Scoob from the new Scooby-Doo Mysteries, second season of All New Scooby-Doo Scrappy-Doo Show, the Hollywood Christmas documentary, which talks about the history of Christmas movies and all that. That's something to do. That's something you can put in the background of the initial watch. And the Flintstone Christmas special, which came out in the 1970s with Bam Bam and Pebbles being older than just being babies. And then the good to watch on repeat when the repeat airs during Christmas, basically. You have Yogi's First Christmas. You have The Year Without a Santa Claus, Santa Claus is Coming to Town, How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the original classic, and The Bearstein Bears Christmas Tree. And the must watch, the ones that you can watch at any time and get enjoyment out of them, without any problem, if you will. We got Frosty the Snowman, Tailspin Christmas episode, Jolly Molly Christmas, the Sonic SatAM Adventure Sonic the Hedgehog Hybrid Christmas special, Sonic Christmas Blast, the initial Rankin Bass Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Goof Troop Christmas, Have Yourself a Goofy Little Christmas, a Charlie Brown Christmas, and My Little Pony, The Best Gift Ever. So that's basically the initial list there, guys. Hope you guys will like it, if you will. Hope you guys like it and everything. As I do something here real quickly. There we go. Save that. So yeah, there we go. So turn this off. So yeah, that's about it. And let me know what you guys think about it. Comment down below. I'd love to hear what your guys' thoughts on it are. Which ones do you agree with? Which ones do you not agree with? How would you categorize it? I will provide the link. In fact, I will do that right now. I will copy the link so you guys can come and look at it yourselves if you want to do that and try it out yourselves. We're going to download the image as well. There we go. That'll be the thumbnail. But let me know what your thoughts are down below in the comments. Thank you to Soundboard for letting me know about the whole echo and the mic thing. I do apologize for that. But again, guys, thank you all for watching. Really appreciate it. Comment below, like the live stream, the video, if you will. Also, check me out at patreon.com/bwroses for the $1, $3 tiers to help donate there. Also, check me out at Venmo if you want to. Also, check me out at BW Roses discussions on all your favorite audio podcast locations except for Pandora. Also, check me out at BW Roses. I think, yeah, I said, yeah, BW Roses on Vimeo, I should say. BW Roses on Vimeo. And also check out my Teespring store for any stuff you want there, especially with Christmas coming around that you might be interested in. So until next time, guys, thank you all for watching. Really appreciate your support. And I will talk to you later. Peace